Welcome back to Not a Walkman, this time with the Sony TCM150. It is a Sony, and it does play cassettes, but it's not a Walkman.
You may think that's because it can record and has a built-in speaker.
But the similar-looking Sony TCS30D also can record and also has a built-in speaker, but is a Walkman. But yet, the TCS60 wasn't deemed worthy of the Walkman name, even though it looks the closest to one. Are you confused yet? While we ponder the mystery of Sony's naming conventions from 25 years ago, the one thing we know for sure about the TCM150 is that it is not a Walkman. But in that case, what is it? Here's how B&H described it, which I recorded on the device itself, and I'll play for you via a direct hookup. The TCM150 standard cassette voice recorder is an entry-level Sony voice recorder that gets the job done without breaking the bank, using affordable and easily replaceable standard cassettes, and powered by just 2 AA batteries. The TCM150 has a low operating cost. The recorder also has a number of useful features, including one-button recording, a large playback speaker, an earphone jack, and Sony's Clear Voice recording system. If you're looking for a way to record on a budget or without complicated or hard-to-find media, the TCM150 answers the call. The TCM150 was introduced in 2002, and in 2009, B&H sold it for $19.95, while the next model up in the range, the TCM200DV, sold for $29.95. That model gave you some handy features the TCM150 lacks, including voice-operated recording, an adjustable speed control ranging from +30 to -15%, and a 2x rec time mode, which runs the tape at half speed to give you double the recording time on a tape. And most usefully, it has an external microphone input jack with plug-in power, while the TCM150 does not. The TCM150 can only record using its built-in microphone, which may look like it can pop up and extend to change its pickup pattern like on some fancier recorders, but in this case, it's just fixed. It is very sensitive and is fine for recording speech, hence Sony calling it Clear Voice, but it does unavoidably pick up some background noise from the internal cassette mechanism. And it's only mono and is limited to a frequency range of 250 to 6300 Hz, using what Sony called normal tape. Yeah, it's rare to see Sony make a spelling mistake, but they definitely did there. The playback and recording head is indeed mono, and the race head is just a permanent magnet. And that's the one hard and fast rule I've been able to identify. Regardless of anything else, if it doesn't have stereo playback, it can't be a Walkman. You can plug in a pair of stereo headphones and use it as if it was a Walkman, and it will play through both ears, but there will be no distinction between the left and right channels.
I am speaking from the left. My name is David.
I am speaking from the right. My name is Mary.
I am still on the left. This is a quick channel identification test.
And I am still on the right.
That's why you'll often see cassette experts say you can't use one of these mono voice recorders to listen to music, an opinion they feel the need to share every time they see someone attempting to do so. But don't let them stop you from doing what you want. It's no more wrong than listening to music through the built-in speaker of your smartphone. Through a direct hookup, that lack of bass response below 250 Hz really becomes evident, making music playback sound tinny.
I've been waiting here forever now. I really don't know when. Such a difference in believing still and believing again. Moon belongs to Rachel now, but she won't let me try. Moon belongs to Rachel.
If you want a Sony TCM150 and have money to burn, you can actually just go on Amazon and pay $269 for a quote-unquote new one, even though it's a product that was discontinued at least 15 or 16 years ago. Or you can go on eBay and take your chances on a used one, where there are loads of them at very affordable prices, but they're almost all listed as broken, for parts only. That's because just like a Walkman, it contains a rubber belt, which is in the slow, decades-long process of turning back into the oily goo it was originally made from. And hopefully you'll catch it in time before it completes that process. In my case, I got lucky. The original belt was in the consistency of licorice, so I was able to pull and pick it out of there without leaving any residue behind, and then replace it without too much difficulty. There is a tutorial video on YouTube on how to replace the belt in the TCM150, which I'll include a link to, but it's not too difficult. With the help of a very small Phillips screwdriver and a pry tool, you can remove the back cover, then unscrew the circuit board, and then the wires have just enough slack to give you access to replace that belt. There's only one. A replacement belt for the TCM150 is about $10, so it may end up costing you as much as you paid for the entire recorder, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. And if you need to adjust the speed, there's the trimmer to do it right near IC601 and where the motor wires connect to the board. I have a 1 kHz test tone tape and a frequency counter app on my tablet. It's playing a little bit fast, so I'll try to adjust it. That's perfect. After that adjustment, the speed is almost perfect, and the wow and flutter is just above 0.2% WRMS, which is actually a little better than I expected. As for whether or not it's a good idea to get the Sony TCM150, I don't think so. Its main purpose was to provide a low-budget way to record voice dictation to cassette tape, and it does do an adequate job of that. But now that the purpose most people have for a cassette recorder is to record and play back music, that's something this is wholly unsuited for. But you already knew that because right from the get-go, I told you this is not a Walkman.